Song this morning. That song always gives me chill bumps. So if you want to preach a short sermon, you don't sing that song before I start. No, I'm just kidding. Not really. I am blessed. I just want to tell you how blessed I am because I've been looking at this art of blessing, and the Lord wants me to see just how blessed I actually am. My wife is sick today. She's been sick since Friday night. She came home with a fever. She's been in bed in the boys' room. So she's not in our room to get me sick. But I have understood what it meant. I've understood just how good I really had it. I've had to do a whole lot. The boys' clothes this morning, not the wrong ones. She got up anyway and went to pick them out and wouldn't let them do it because she thought I'd messed up. And it's just little things. One of the things that she always helps me do is make sure I got everything before I leave. Well, church, I forgot my Bible this morning. It is sitting on the kitchen counter when I poured my coffee to leave. I left my Bible. So I thought, that's fine. I've got plenty of Bibles here at church. You've probably got one of my Bibles in your classroom. When I went to go look, I couldn't find anything but the women's study Bible. That is my wife's. Well, maybe the Lord's teaching me a lesson this morning. So I'm going to be preaching with the New King James Women's Study Bible this morning, and I hope that is okay with you. I don't think she's taking a leadership role in that and we're using this Bible as she does in my life. But let's go ahead and let's get ready as we study together this morning the art of the blessing. There's a CPA who once wrote an article, Christian CPA, who decided that he was going to just try to go through and look at how God had blessed him in so many ways. And as you know, CPAs do, accountants do, they want all the accounts to match up. So he began to start writing all of the blessings that he had received from God on one side. On the other side, he was going to begin to write all of the things that he has done for God. All of the things that he has blessed God by his actions. And you look at it and say, well, we can't do anything to bless him. Well, that's not true. We do. We praise him. We worship him. We can give of our means as he's commanded. We can obey the commandments that he's asked. If you love me, keep my commandments. Those are things that bless him, that praise him for what he's doing. And he said he started over here on this side of all the things that God had blessed him with, and he just, everything. From the sun in the morning, to the moon at night, to the food that he had, the detail of the food that he had. It wasn't just the eggs that he had, but he also had bacon. Then he also had the milk. And then the cows that were able to give forth the milk. And the farmers who began to raise the cows. And the ground, because it's able to give fruit for us as a farmer to be able to sprout. And the more he wrote, he began to see what he already knew was just how blessed he was and just how little he was giving back in return. You know, it would do us well to do that, but I already know the answer. Because when we do that, we're going to say, well, there's no way. This list is going to be huge. Why should I waste the time when I already know the answer to the question? Well, I think it does something to us when we begin to list all of the details. All the small things that we receive from God, all these blessings that we get from God, so that we can be thankful for, and then compare that with how we bless Him by what we do. And the overwhelming thought as we go through this is you see that we are extremely blessed. The word blessing means this. It's mentioned 415 times in the Old Testament, just in the Old Testament. And we're going to be dealing with that. We're going to look at it in the New Testament in a different light. 415 times in the Old Testament, and the Hebrew word is barak. And it means this. It means to endure with power, for success, prosperity, fruitfulness, and longevity. Now, in the English word, it is a little different how we relate that word. Like if But in Hebrew, that's what we're looking at. To endure with power for success, prosperity, fruitfulness, and longevity. So, by implication, having a blessed life is to have a life that is given to fruitfulness and being abundant. So, when we look at what it means to be blessed, we're going to be looking at how we can live fruitful lives. Like if I am to bless you this morning, my job in blessing you this morning is not that I hold any power in my hand, or not that I'm any more authoritative than you, or not that I'm better than anyone else in this room. But if I were to bless you this morning, as I hope to do, I am going to impart to you some things that are going to offer you prosperity, some things that are going to offer you longevity, some things that are going to offer you a life of fruitfulness in the spiritual life. That's what my job. And your job is to do the same to me. And not only to me, but to others. And we've lost that art. We've lost the art of what it means to give a blessing. There's a psychiatrist. His name is Paul Tornita, a Swiss psychiatrist / theologian. It means he practices his faith when he's working in this psychiatry. He discovered a recurring problem that he had with therapy that he was doing in Switzerland. This is what he noticed. He called it the unblessed child. I think after reading this, you'll see about where we're going. It had nothing to do with the gifts of the child or the opportunities in the life of the child that he enjoyed, or even his material possessions. It had to do with children not being blessed, i.e., not feeling approved by his or her parents. Feeling somehow that they did not measure up. That somehow that they never really pleased their parents. Maybe you felt that way as an adult. Maybe you felt like that you never really lived up to the dream that your father or your mother had of you. That you always felt a little more insignificant in their life. Or maybe your children today. Maybe your children feel like that they can't live up to your standard. And when we think about that, shouldn't we have high standards? Absolutely. We should have high standards for our children. Because if we don't give them a goal to strive for, you're never going to reach it if you don't have a goal, right? So we set these standards high, and we want our children to achieve all of these things. And that's okay, that's perfectly okay. But a lot of times what happens if we don't offer enough positive reinforcement to that, the child seems to feel as though that they're not good enough. Not important enough, not worthy enough, and they feel unblessed. I want to parlay that into our spiritual lives and how often we feel that way. God. Because maybe that's the reason why things aren't happening like we want them to in our world for the faith. Maybe we are not able to bless each other because we ourselves have not been blessed by others. Not God, but by others. Because make no mistake, although God gives us all the blessings, and I don't want you to understand this, God gives us all of our blessings, He has given us the opportunity, the command to bless others with our life. Genuine acceptance is an unmet need in the lives of so many, he says. But it does not have to be that way. Everyone feels the need to be accepted. Everyone craves the blessing. Everyone wants to be the one that hears the good comments from the teacher, the parent, the spouse, the boss. It's not that you want it for your glory. You don't necessarily want them to glorify you. You want them to say to you things like, "I'm proud of you. Good job. You did great today. You might not have hit them all, but you tried your hardest. You may not have been able to beat them, but you did the best that you could. We say things like that. It makes our children, it makes us in our workplace, it makes us feel more accepted. And that is how we offer success, prosperity, fruitfulness, and longevity in the blessing. But, go to the next slide. The blessings begin and end with God. Alright? We have to understand that. The blessings begin and end with God. If you want to turn around in your Bible, if you want to do this, we're just going to take a quick tour here through the first couple of chapters of Genesis. When you look in Genesis 1:21 is the first time you're going to see that. It's when God's creating the world. In Genesis 1:21. You see how the word is used here. So God created great creatures and every living thing that moves, with which the waters abounded according to their kind, winged bird according to its kind, and God saw that it was good. Virgins, and God blessed it. Alright? You can look on over in verse 28. When you read in verse 28. Then God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and multiply, fill and subdue the earth. Chapter 2, verse 3. He blessed the Sabbath day, the seventh day. He made it holy there when He blessed it, the day that He rested. Chapter 2, verse 3. Chapter 9, verse 1. After the flood, He comes to Noah, who comes off the ark, and they're going to offer the sacrifices. And it says that God says to Noah and his family, He blessed them and told them to be fruitful and multiply. God gave that command to bless them. And then we get the centerpiece, the focal point, the lazy Susan, I call it, of the Scriptures, in Genesis chapter 12. Because everything hinges in the Bible around Genesis chapter 12. In the reading that was done just a few moments ago, if you look there again, God now has expressed what blessing is. I bless this earth. I bless this creation. I have blessed this day. I have blessed man. I have given you the blessing to go out, be fruitful, and multiply. I have given you, Noah, the blessing. I'm blessing you for prosperity, for fruitfulness, for long life, for longevity. I am blessing you to be able to do these things. God's giving the blessing over and over. And now He's going to give this blessing to this one guy, this one man, who then is going to change the blessing for all time. Listen to what He says. The Lord said to Abram, get out of your country, from your family, from your kindred, your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you. And I will make your name great. So God's going to bless him, and you will be a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you. And I will curse him who curses you. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Okay, here it is. It begins and ends with God. Every family in the earth is going to be able to receive the blessing. Every family in the earth is going to be able to receive this words of fruitfulness, of longevity, of prosperity. Every nation is going to follow through Abraham there, Abram, with the promise that if you bless, you will be blessed. Let's look a little bit more at what that means. Our problem with that is we misunderstand what that blessing is. Two children were out. Let's just give two. There was a television show that went on, and they asked little children. He might have been Parkland later when he did that. I think Bill Cosby did it later when he was talking about how kids say the strangest things. Kids were asked about love. And this is what it was. Rebecca, age 8, defined love this way. When my grandmother got arthritis, she could not bend over to paint her toenails. So my grandfather does this for her, even though he has arthritis too. That's described love. Billy, age 4. When someone loves you, even the way they say your name is different. You just know that your name is safe in their mouth. I have it in my nose. Sounds a little strange, but whose toenails are you counting? Whose name is in your mouth? You see, as we pass this blessing and understand what this blessing is, what God wants us to say when He blessed Abraham, when He blessed Noah, when He blessed the world, basically what He's saying is, I love you. I love you. I love you, and I got great things for you. I got grace, peace, and mercy for you, and I want you to have it. I love you, Abraham. I love you so much that there's going to be a sacrifice that comes down the road that there's no way you'll ever be able to see. But I need you to trust me, because this sacrifice is going to make not only you a blessing now, it's going to make you a blessing for all time. And that blessing is this: Abraham, I love humanity. I want the best for humanity. And the best for humanity is found in my faith, it's found in my love, it's found in my grace, it's found in my mercy. And I want you, Abraham, I want you to be the focal point of that, so that all the world channels that message through you. In you, every nation of the world is going to be blessed through you, because I am giving you the blessing. I am showing you love. I am showing you peace. I am showing you mercy. So the blessing begins and ends with God. He starts it, and it will finish with Him when we bless Him, when we go up to heaven, praise His name, singing those songs of praise for eternity. So what does this have to do with? Well, maybe the best way to put it is like this. It's marketing. It's networking. Because we are the product. The blessing is the product. And God says, I want the world to know who I am. I want the world to know what I've done for them, what I've done for you, and I want them to see it lived out in your life. And when you bless others, when you come into the lives of others and you express that same blessing that I blessed you with, they will see what I have done for you, and they will be blessed even more. Now, if we've got the product, let's Nick Saban. Somebody told me the other day, and I know a bunch of us around Alabama fans, somebody said today, you see those commercials where Nick Saban's got that big red truck? Somebody said he didn't drive a big red truck. He drives a Mercedes. Well, that's his cup of tea, whatever he wants, right? He's got the money to do it, that's fine. But the image that's portrayed, every time you see that big red truck, you think about, that's a Nick Saban truck. That's a Nick Saban truck. That truck right there, wonder if that's Nick Saban. Say that. You look at that truck and you think that's marketing. He's trying to sell it. The Ford is trying to sell it through him, to market it through him. He represents an idea of a truck. People buy the truck to have that idea because I got the same truck Nick Saban's got. When he don't drive the truck. Does that make sense? We are trying to express the life that God wants us to live with the blessing. We're trying to share His love. We're trying to share His mercy. We're trying to share His grace. And if we are blessing each other in the way we talk to each other, showing approval, showing love, showing mercy, showing grace in the way we treat one another, then people are not going to see the true blessing, how Christ has blessed our life. Ephesians 4 tells us, and this is on the side, Ephesians 4 tells us, verse 29 through 32 says, let no unwholesome word come out of your mouth, but only words that are good for the edification of the body. Only words that are good for the building up of the body. So what that means is, I am not to say anything to anybody that doesn't, number one, make them better. Number two, make them stronger. Number three, expresses my love for you. I'm not to say anything to you if it doesn't include those things. You know how Grandma always says, you got nothing nice to say about somebody, you don't say nothing at all? That's a scriptural principle. You don't open your mouth because you don't want to tear them down. You don't want them to feel insignificant. You don't want them to feel unimportant. You don't want them to feel like they're unworthy to be in your presence, because God says, I have blessed Adam. I have blessed Noah. I have blessed Abraham. And my goal is, God's goal is to network through Abraham, through the child he has on down the line, through Jesus to come about through the plan, and Jesus in Him. All families of the earth will be blessed. The networking explodes when we become part of the family of God. And we should be blessing those people so that they will. Remember what 1 John says? God is love. Remember what Jesus says in John? They'll know you're my disciples by the love that you have for one another. So, marketing, networking, when people look at you and have the relationships that they have with you. Here's a lesson in itself. Do they see that you're a Christian? By the way you talk to them? By the way you converse? Do you say things to them that point them to you got a history with God? A history of blessing? Blessing begins and ends with God. We are His, and I wrote those words down just this morning, network. We're His network. We're His marketing prospects here. We are the conduit of His blessing. But sin is disrupting our plan. His plan. And it leaves people feeling starved for blessing. One of the most noted story of blessing does still come from Genesis. Which is the second part of the lesson here. The blessing is free. And even though the blessing is free, I'm going to put this on the outline for you to write down. The blessing is free even when you don't deserve it. Alright? Think about that. You get blessed by God even though you don't deserve it. I didn't deserve to have a woman like me in my life. I didn't deserve that. She's not here. You can feel free to call her and tell her how much I pray for her. I'm not worthy to be blessed with a congregation like this on my own. I'm not worthy to have the great job that I've had. I didn't do anything to deserve those things, but God blessed me with those. And the blessing was free. The blessing was free even when I didn't deserve it. Now here, this is where the story comes into play. Look at Genesis chapter 27. As I said, probably to me, maybe just in my mind, one of the most noted stories about the blessing is one that I've had questions with all my life that I've struggled with. In Genesis chapter 27. According to Jewish tradition, the eldest son was the one to receive the blessing. We see that. Jacob and Esau were twins. And although they were twins, Esau was the oldest. Now there was a prophecy as he grabbed hold of Jacob grabbed hold of Esau's heel. When he came out of the womb, we know the prophecy that the older would serve the younger. That was part of the prophecy there. But Esau was the oldest son, and according to the Jewish tradition, Esau deserved the blessing. Now, the problem comes in when Esau comes before his father, when he comes before Isaac, and Isaac tells him, I've got a blessing for you, son. I want to bless you today. This is the day you've been waiting for. This is the day of your blessing. But Isaac had become old. He had become blind. He had some problems, some health problems. He couldn't see. So he calls in his son, please, son, you go off and you cook me. You go kill me something from the field. You'll kill me some venison. You bring it, prepare it, so that I can have that meal with you, and I'm going to bless you. The plan is set. Esau goes out and does what he's supposed to do because he deserves a blessing. He's the oldest son. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, so to speak, Rebecca hears this. Rebecca hears this, and she says, you know what? I want you to be Jacob. You're my favorite. You're the one that I want to have this blessing. So here, let's go kill a cat. Let's take the goat. Let's put the fur on your arm, and let's give you the smell. And you've been out. I'll cook the meal. You go do that, and we'll go to your father, and we'll pretend that you are Esau. What Esau said to this? What Esau's mindset was in this? Mama knows best, he thinks. So he does exactly that. And we see Jacob go before his father. Isaac. Jacob, whoops. It's supposed to be Esau. But Jacob gets it. And from Jacob's son Judah, Perez, Hezron, Ram, Abinadab, Nahshon, Salmon, Boaz, Obed, Jesse, David. And it goes on through Jesus. It comes through Jacob. And it comes through because it's been done deceitful. Does he still get the blessing? Did he, let me ask you this, did he deserve to get the blessing? But he received it. Now, whether he received it, but I don't think he actually believed that he had it because of the way he did it. Esau comes home and he says, I'm here to get my blessing. Isaac says, I've already blessed you. And then they realize what happened. And Esau cries out the way a lot of our church families cry out today. He weeps and cries out, is there not a blessing for me? He's angry, he wants to kill his brother Jacob. Jacob runs off somewhere, he's pointed somewhere where he can go, start his own family somewhere else. Years later, God tells Jacob he needs to go home. Him and Esau, they need to make amends. He's on his way. He's afraid that Esau's going to kill him. He hears word that there are 400 men with Esau as they're coming out. He thinks they're here to kill him. So what he does is he sends out family first. He puts the women and children up first. And the gifts that he's going to send them. So maybe he'll soften the blow a little bit. They won't kill those women and children. They won't kill. And he's concerned. He's got all these gifts that he's going to be at the back because he doesn't want to die. Because he knows I'm not supposed to be the one to have the blessing. And then, Genesis 32. Look at this. There's a strange visitor that comes that night. Genesis 32. Look at verse 24. Jacob was left alone. And a man, capital M, in this version of the Women's Study Bible, capital M-A-N, wrestled with him until the breaking of day. There's all kinds of problems with that verse. Jacob was left alone and a man wrestled with him. Kind of gives the impression he's left alone, and who is this man? Is this really a man? Well, we always understand that to be an angel. Or maybe even Christ. The man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. Now when he saw that he did not prevail against him, he touched the socket of his hip. And the socket of Jacob's hip went out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaks. But Jacob said, I will not let you go until you bless me. See that? So Jacob's hip is out of socket. He's holding on to this man and says, let me go. I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. He said to him, what is your name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. For you have struggled with God and with me. And have prevailed. Jacob asked him, tell me your name. And he says, why is that you ask not my name? And he blessed him there and laughed. Now, here's the thing. I don't know what Esau's going to do. He's got 400 men. I really don't think, now this is me, it's Heupelism. I really don't think Esau's going with his 400 men just to go greet his brother. But maybe when he sees his brother coming, something happens. He sees his brother off in the distance and maybe he's ready to kill him. Maybe he's ready to take him on. He's got the gifts, he's got all these things, and maybe the anger of Esau is still breaking. He's had all these years to let it swell. But when he sees his brother coming, he sees him coming with a lift. His hips outside. Maybe he feels compassion. And maybe he sees that. And maybe the blessing became the hip. Or the hip was the blessing for Jacob. Jacob's life was changed forever after that. Esau was blessed when he saw Jacob with his hip. And he turned the nation of Israel. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, they become the nation of Israel. And that's going to bless the world. Now, how do I say this? Is a lot of things. Yeah, we're going through this. What does this mean? You know, we can go later on, we'll continue on later. Genesis 48, Joseph comes there to be blessed. Joseph is blessed. This is Genesis 48 when they're in Egypt. Jacob finds out that Joseph's alive. They come back, and Jacob is there with Ephraim and Manasseh, and Joseph puts them in birth order. This is Ephraim, this is Manasseh. Bless them, my father. And when he goes to bless them, what does he do? He crosses his arms and fixes the blessing. Jacob blesses the other. And goes. And from there on, he continues the blessing. The blessing. It begins and it ends with God, and it's not going to stop there. Because now, as we have received that blessing through the waters of baptism, when we become a child of God, as the two boys did this week on Wednesday night, as Caleb and Andrew, they received that blessing from God. Their job now is to transfer that out to us. So although it begins and ends with God, the next step is it's free, but the next step we go, even though we don't deserve it, it's free. Go ahead. It must be accepted. It has to be accepted. You take this blessing and you've got to, and He's going to give it, you've got to freely expect it. Now here's the thing. It comes when we least expect it. Matthew chapter 5. Blessed are the poor in heart. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are you when you hunger and thirst after righteousness. Blessed are you that mourn. You're blessed when you mourn. Doesn't make sense. You're blessed when you're poor. Doesn't make sense. That's how God, you're blessed when you have the hip outside. That makes sense. And God's going to bless you for it. And as we accept it, we take it on. Now let me tell you how much this blessing is important, and I'll close. In Jesus' day, every Jew, every devout Jew began in his day with prayer. And this prayer is a certain kind of prayer. It's called the Amidah. A-M-I-D-A-H. In Hebrew, it means standing. So when they would do this blessing in the morning, they would stand. Okay? And it was also numbered as 18. So they would stand and they would recite 18 different benedictions or blessings. They would recite them. That was part of their prayer. So every morning they would stand up. They would face Jerusalem there and they would pray these 18 benedictions and these 18 blessings. And this was so important to the Jew. He had to do these 18, and there was nothing that was allowed to stop or to interrupt this. There's even examples given for them in their culture, in their tradition, that if a snake curls up around your ankle, you are not to stop the blessing. If you stop, it's a sin. If you're in a group of men and you stop, there's to be someone pick up and start over for you. If the king walks up to you and bids you good day as you're doing this blessing, you are not to stop and say, I'm fine, good day to you. Because this is the most important aspect of your day and the most important aspect of your night is understanding just how good we have it. Just how much God has blessed us. And in turn, we're to take that and the blessing. We've lost the art. We have messed up the art of blessing. You know why I say that? It's because we talk hateful to each other. We talk awful to each other. We say things that are the exact opposite of good things to each other and bless them. We don't build up the body in love. We tear down the body. We tear down the church by the way we talk to each other. By gossip, by slanders, just by anything. So as we conclude this part of the lesson, the next couple of weeks, we're going to look at how we do this to each other. How we do bless this. How do we pass this blessing along? I want you to look. I want you to look at it as this network. networking principle as we close. This is marketing strategies we got. You understand that you've been blessed this morning. You understand that you've been blessed with a good life. You understand that you've been blessed with, you're able to have virtually good health. You're here, but you struggle. You've got problems in your life. Everyone does. But you still understand you're blessed. And you understand you don't deserve to be blessed. You did nothing to get the things that you got. Whether you worked hard for it or not, you didn't do anything to earn being able to take your first breath. You were born as a child, you couldn't even change yourself, you couldn't feed yourself. That was done for you. You didn't deserve anything that you got. Everything you have has been given to you from God. Even this exact moment that you have has been given by God. And that's a blessing in itself. So what have you done with that blessing? Have you been the conduit? Have you been that networking agent? Have you been that marketing ambassador so that people can see Jesus living, that they can see the grace, the love, the mercy, the power that God has, that He blessed you? Can that be seen in your life to others? If it can't, it needs to be. And today is the best day of your life to be able to do it. See, we have people in this audience today that are looking at their life and they're saying, I know I need to make a change. I know I need to do better with my life of the way I live. But I don't know how. The church will just tell you. You come and you let God help you. There are people in this audience right now that have been studying. I know you have. I know you've been studying, and I know that you need to make a change in your life, and you need to tell the Lord Jesus you appreciate the blessings. You need to thank Him. And you thank Him by giving your life to Him, by becoming a child of God. You're saying, let this old self die. I don't want my goals and my wants and my desires to come from me. I want to channel you, Father. I want to channel you, Jesus. I want you in my life to channel that out to bless others. If you become a child of God today, you can. I mean, baptized with the remission of your sin. This is your lucky day. This is the day that you have. Because He has not told us He is going to bless us with tomorrow. We are the blessed. You understand? Are you living? The invitation song, Hark the Gentle Voice. Listen to it. Take heed as you stand and sing the invitation song.